Midnight's pre-patch is embarrassing. Even for modern Blizzard. This is the title that we're looking at right now, guys. And, you know, Bellular can be at times a little bit negative, but can I really disagree with him? I mean, we've spent most of pre-patch sitting on a floating rock in the middle of the Twilight Cultist zone, running down, killing a boss, and flying back up and waiting for the next one. Nothing really riveting going on. As I said before, we're getting a freaking Void Assaults thing in 12.0.5. Why that's not part of the pre-patch content, I have no idea. That seems like that should have been pre-patch content. But anyways, let's get into this video here and talk a little bit about pre-patch and how it's been going for everybody.
You know, there's a phenomenon called firefighter arson. It's when a firefighter goes out and starts a fire. That might sound like nonsense, but apparently it's a thing that happens, and it kind of gives them a chance to be hero for the day. And this is still a video about the pre-patch, though, because Blizzard...
Is that a real thing? Firefighters starting fire? It's like job justification, right? You gotta start the fire so you can put out some fires. Hey, it hasn't been a fire in a while. Let's start some shit.
Have kind of been accused of doing
Interesting.
the
Yes, it
exact
is. Wow.
same thing. This pre-patch event seems to have gone down so poorly that people are starting to believe it's almost being done like this on purpose. You know, Blizzard setting fire to their own game so they can rush in, fix it, and claim the glory. Now that's obviously not true, but it has happened so many times in a row that by this stage, I don't think anyone is surprised. And that's a really bad thing. So today we're going to work out just what the hell's going on with this pre-patch.
Yeah, what is wrong? Maybe Ian has a co-system team want to prove that they do listen to feedback, so they intentionally create really bad systems where they know they're going to get feedback to fix the system, and then they fix the system and say, hey, we listen to your feedback. That's a pretty maniacal way of thinking about it. I don't know if that's the case, but yeah.
Events in WoW
I
are
get what
never
he's
too
saying.
complicated, but this one is certainly the most simple. 6 quests with only 4 actual objectives. There are some world quests.
And that is one thing that I said early on about pre-patch 2 is why are there so few quests? I mean, like I barely have any quests to do every day because there's just no quests to do.
A tic-tac-toe
Feel like there could have been
minigame
more.
and 18 rares to kill. Now those rares spawn as part of a regular event, so once a rare is up, everyone flies over, zergs down a few mobs, then kills the rare, and that's basically it. Now for doing that, you get an insignia as a reward and a chance at some champion gear. And like always, those insignias can be traded in. Over at the cosmetic vendor for a mount recolor, some new weapon transmogs, and some old classic armor. Or at this other vendor for gear that will see you into midnight. Though there are a few other rewards, like a mount recolor as an achievement for killing every single rare. Now,
Yeah.
of course, you may...
It's another mech suit. I'm kind of mech suited out at this point. I don't really care about mech suits anymore. But it's a fine one, and I'm trying to get it.
look at this and think it all sounds rather inoffensive or maybe a bit normal. But you see, I haven't actually told you how much everything costs. At launch, you are getting 1 insignia from a rare every 10 minutes. A single piece of gear would cost 40 of them. So that's over 400 minutes, most of which would be spent just AFK, waiting. Over 6.5 hours is what that comes out to for a single piece of gear. That's what it launched with. If you wanted all the cosmetics from the vendor instead, you would need 475 insignias.
That's crazy. Yeah, for a single piece of gear that honestly is not that cool looking. Like if this was like a redo of a tier set, kind of like the anniversary event was, right? That felt like something worthy of grinding for. So if they had done another like tier set remaster and we were going for that, I think people would have been perfectly fine with 6 hours per piece of tier set, and they would have spent the entire pre-patch just grinding it out, trying to fill out that whole tier set. But that amount of time for this kind of gear, which is really just catch-up gear, and transmog-wise really isn't that interesting, yeah, that's... people didn't really care to do it.
Just farm them out this way, it would take 80 hours. Now, I'm being a little unfair there. There's the weekly quests that give you an upfront stack, and world quests that give you more than the rares. But those things are limited, and even if you were to cut that in half from other sources, you'd still be looking at like 40 hours of farming. But even worse, it would actually take you longer than that, because other people can teleport you away. And I'm not kidding, this is actually happening. Blizzard put a portal to Donegal in the zone, but they somehow messed it up where instead of the portal teleporting you, it teleports your target. So you can...
Oh my god. So people troll. So people started porting people out of the... Oh my god, that's so funny. And you know for a fact, like if somebody discovered this was broken, this is a typical WoW player, they're going to start porting people out on purpose, right? You're just going to target everyone in the party and just start porting them out just for shits and giggles. I would have done it. That's hilarious, man. And the other day I was streaming, Samiccus popped in really fast and dumb like a bitch ninja. Didn't say anything, didn't say hello. Man, I can't wait till I'm a partner so I can be an entitled bald ass like Samiccus. There are goals to strive for, Ramen, I would say, and that's certainly one of them. That's right. Yeah, this was fixed about a week ago. Yeah, well, it's still freaking hilarious. I wish I would have known it happened. I would have trolled so hard. Lurking, love you, dumb bitch. Thanks, Ramen. I appreciate
You can
that.
just yeet someone somewhere else. So obviously, chaos ensued. People were reliving the glory days of griefing, teleporting each other, across the entirety of Azeroth. At least for a while anyway. That sort of thing is usually fixed real quick. But as funny as it is far from the only problem. People are reporting that the world quests don't work if your character has done quests in the Twilight Highlands, and on top of that, Blizzard forgot to disable faction-based tapping in the cross-faction event, and even stranger, they forgot to put a ranged weapon in the loot table.
Yeah,
so,
I did see that. They
sorry,
fixed that.
Hunters. And to top it all off,
I think they added a crossbow like last week.
midnight crafting materials and transmogs are now showing up on the auction house. That obviously shouldn't happen. Now, by Wednesday night, they had already pushed changes. The portal was fixed, obviously. Rares now spawn in every 5 minutes, and they give you 2 to 3 insignias. Gear drops from the rares are now 3 times as likely, and they're not limited to 1 per day per rare.
Right.
The vendor gear now costs 20, down from 40, and that's why I started off talking about firefighter arson. Those are all good changes, but they shouldn't have been needed, and that's basically why it looks like firefighter arson to people. And I get it.
I can see
I
that.
mean, if you look at the raw maths here, the event is at least now 5 times easier. Blizzard had to change every single number to get it closer to right, and that makes you think, did they even try in the first place? And you know what? Maybe they didn't. Because for basically every recent patch, Blizzard have pushed a reward system that's been undertuned, and then they've waited for feedback to improve it. They, I guess, seem to think that that works well in
Hey, we're all paid beta testers at this point, right? Drop the pre-patch in unfinished, or drop any patch in an unfinished format, and then let the feedback determine what you need to fix. Yeah, maybe that's true.
Internally, I can't say what they think, but it keeps on happening. And at this stage, I just have to say that it's really quite cowardly. It is the behavior of a team that does not want to take responsibility
play a beta.
for getting something right. So they ship it clearly wrong and then just let the live data show them the answer. If you're a good designer, you should be able to hit the mark a lot more
Unpaid is what I
close
meant,
than
yes.
this. It essentially seems they've learned to use their live service feedback loop as a crutch. Even if that is a real shitty experience for actual players who are paying real money and are playing on launch day. Launch day being the big day that Blizzard hypes up and markets for their new patch. So, I don't know how many patches in a row I'll have to make basically the same sort of video talking about the same thing, saying there's a new thing in WoW, some of it looks good, but don't play it for at least 2 or 3 days, or maybe a week. Because patch day...
I mean, I've already decided on like the launch of the expansion that I'm not going to play it for early access, at least. I think it's like February 26th is like the early access date for it. So I told you guys, I was like, 26th, probably not streaming midnight. 27th, stream it all day. Because the day it launches, first of all, it's launching kind of late my time. It's like 6 p.m. or whatever. And second of all, even if when it launches, there's probably going to be shit that's broken. So I'll just wait, a day and then get in when it happens then. And even still, it's early access period, so I'm fine.
Doesn't actually mean they're launching a patch. It basically means that's the day they're sending you in as a paid tester. And normally I wouldn't say something like that, because it would sound like a conspiracy theory. And to be clear, I don't think this is overtly what they plan for. But by now, it has happened so many times in a row. Though you may have heard the phrase, exploit early, exploit often. If I was to say, recommend you wait a week before you play a new patch, well, who knows, maybe you'd miss the day one exploit or something like that, which can make it feel a bit damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, I don't think they're intentionally do it. I just think maybe it's become a habit, right? Where they're like, we got to get this out. There's certain timelines they need to hit and stuff. And they're just like, we'll launch it and the players will tell us if there's an issue with it. I don't think they're creating it with that intention behind it. They just know that that's probably what could happen. So they're okay with it and they just let it happen.
This pre-patch event then is the icing on the cake for possibly the most unfinished pre-patch of all time. And it does just make us ask, Blizzard, why did you bother with any of this? Why are Blizzard doing this to themselves, and of course, to us? I mean, if you look at the event, it's thematic enough. Twilight's Blade are relevant in Midnight, but showing them off now, with almost no context, kind of undercuts their appearance in the early Midnight story. The rewards from the mounts to the gear are also not particularly inspired, and all of this goes down in the Twilight Highlands because, I guess, it's got, Twilight in the name, and it's a convenient enough zone for Blizzard to stick a phase onto. And even if you look at the execution, I mean, the Void Elf camps and NPCs are seemingly just plopped into the area, just willy-nilly. It doesn't feel crafted and polished, which is, of course, what we should expect from Blizzard. It makes you think, is this all just...
I mean, a whole tent zone doesn't have to feel unpolished just because it's tents. I mean, we've seen, was it the Argent Tournament? The Argent Tournament was literally a bunch of tents, but that zone felt really alive, well-crafted. Felt like there was purpose behind it, the way it was built and everything, and you had the little arena in the center. But, like, just because you're not putting up new buildings, and this is, like, it's supposed to be, like, a temporary site, doesn't mean it needs to feel unfinished. And that's what this kind of feels like. It literally looks like they clicked and dragged these tents into place using the housing freaking UI, and then just said, yep, that's your new little zone there to pick up some quests.
Filler to kill time? And I think it probably is that. Blizzard don't have the time to do this properly, so they phoned it in. Not because they wanted to, but probably because they had to.
Yeah.
Instead of something new, they made another rare farm waste of time. That's gameplay that we've been vocal about wanting a break from since Zaralek Cavern pissed us off all the way back in 2023.
Forgot about
and here's
that.
the thing. We've always had pre-patch events. Some have been well received, like Legion's Invasions and Dragonflight's Primal Storms. But for this one, Blizzard just treated it like a chore. It's like this is their version of just doing the dishes just so you can have them be done. It's clear that no one had the time or the will to make this something worth logging in for. And to be clear, it's not worth logging in for. And that's the exact same vibe that we got, say, flying around some of the Zaralek rares, and to some degree from some of the Koresh world content. Their focus is clearly already on the next expansion, or the next patch.
But this is the thing, like, that's what I was saying, 12.0.5, Void Assaults, it's literally, that's what this is. It's like Void Portals opening up, and Voidy Boys pouring out, and you got to kill them all. It's a big live event that happens, and then you defeat it, and it goes away. It's Legion Invasions. So basically what we're getting in 12.0.5 is what we got as pre-patch in Legion. So you see, like, the content quality fall off a little bit there, that we're getting a patch worth of content. It used to be just pre-patch content. So it's I thought that was what we were getting for pre-patch, honestly. When I saw the cinematics and shit with the Void Portals up, I was like, oh, there you go. That's our pre-patch event. And we just got rare killing. It's just a rare killing spree. That's all it is. Twilight Cult acting like a B-title movie henchman. Yeah, true, Eggsy. Oh, no problem, Georgie. Like I said, this pre-patch event is insulting, says Doc Dynamite. Yeah, I agree. It's insulting that they consider it even to be worthy of being called pre-patch. This really just feels like something that could have gone live and would have just been like random passing event going on in the game, like a rotating world quest or something.
And not necessarily in the stuff that we're about to play very soon. And honestly, with an expansion about to release and a patch due 6 weeks after that, it's kind of hard to blame them. I mean, we've all been there before. And
Swirly Poo says maybe they thought people not going to leave housing. Like, I mean, you're joking a little bit, anywho. But I do agree that maybe housing played a major role in this, because housing is a major piece of content. It is. And it dropped as a pre-patch thing, right? So, and it was actually earlier than that, even for people who pre-ordered the expansion. I do think they put a lot of dev time into player housing, and supposedly they have a player housing team, but I'm sure initially it took the entire team to get player housing out the door, and that probably took away a lot of time from pre-patch. It probably did.
Their own lives. And that's why I think something probably needs to change. Because at this point, Blizzard needs to be more realistic about what they can actually put their effort into, and what they can actually ship to a good level of quality. Because if they don't do that, we'll have another expansion of Nightfalls, Dastardly Duos, and Radiant Echoes. Those are all things that shipped, But I think everyone would be much happier, Blizzard and probably us, if they cut some of that chaff out and just focused on making better gameplay. Because I actually think that's the problem here. I think they're too busy making random filler stuff to actually make good gameplay, and to focus on the quality of what they deliver. And I don't mean some sweatlord combat, I mean something else to do that isn't an utter chore, like what they've shipped here, or that of course is actually shipped with a pacing and reward system that vaguely makes sense. And while the bugs...
I mean, I agree with them in a way, but at the same time, I think, yeah, a lot of time, Tidewell makes a good point as well. All the class pruning and the UI updates. The UI updates were a big deal too. Removal of add-ons and all of these UI implementations they put in. All of this stuff just took a lot of time away from whatever this pre-patch event was going to be. So I think, you know, to be fair to them, they did do a lot of work. It's not that they're not doing anything. They just put their work in other places. That's the problem. And then they launched this sad pre-patch event that just made people feel like, well, this looks like it was a second thought here. And it's probably because it was.
Are frustrating. I don't think that's the main problem. So let me explain. The worst offense here isn't the bugs. It's not that it's unfinished. It's that it doesn't actually respect you as a player. Now that is something Blizzard continually talks about, basically being the pillar of how they make World of Warcraft, that everything they do is for you. If that were true, something of such low quality would not be shipped. Now, Twilight Ascension is very similar to Dragonflight's event, but in a buggier pre-patch and with more waiting. That's an important difference, but it's not the most important one. Mm-hmm. In this, there's no real reason to farm the mobs. You just sit in one place and you wait for the rares. In Dragonflight's pre-patch, you could farm the mobs. Same with Dragonflight's launch content that was fairly well received, like the Obsidian Citadel and the Cobalt Assembly. Farming mobs may sound boring, and it can be boring, but let me put it another way. In those other systems, players had something they could actually do.
Yeah.
They could press buttons on their keyboard and see things happen that mattered.
Yeah, if you want to do something, even if it's boring, at least you have something that you can do. Right now, with the current patch, I told you guys this, like, I did the quests, and then I killed some rares, and I was like... There's literally nothing else I can do. Like, even if I want to do something, there is nothing up right now to kill, and there are no more quests to do. So what am I supposed to do? Go out to the fucking real world? Contribute to society in a meaningful way? Come on. I want to do that. Yeah, so there's literally nothing you could do. At points, there are just nothing left to do in the game.
Even if only a little.
Which is weird for a while.
Mobs dying in their screen usually meant they were making progress. That's how it worked in those events. But in this kind of event, it's literally just a waiting game. You're not actually playing a game anymore. You're just engaging with an obvious reward system. Nothing you can do will speed it up, or slow it down, or improve your rewards. It's just show up, wait, tag the mob, that's it. There is no gameplay. And I don't mean when I say there's no gameplay, that there needs to be hard bosses or anything like that. What I'm saying is, there needs to be a game. Hey, maybe the reason they put the tic-tac-toe toy in is because they knew the event has nothing to do in it, and at least tic-tac-toe is a goddamn game, not a waiting simulator. The rather legendary Civilization designer Sid Meier said that a good game is a series of interesting decisions. And I do think that that quote has been quite often misused, but I think that the Dragonflight grinds are a decent example. They were mindless grinds, but you could still play them. You could swap your talents to maximize mob tags or AoE damage. Over time, you get used to routes that matched respawn timers.
Right.
You could even find groups that were trying to optimize the whole thing. You could engage. All those things are tiny decisions that made up playing a game. This pre-patch event doesn't let you make any decisions. Well, I mean, there's an obvious decision. Are you going to bother with this thing? My personal answer is no. I'm not wasting my time in this shit.
It's kind of pointless.
It's a complete waste of time. Now, there's lots of stuff in Midnight that looks fantastic, that I am really excited for. But this event? No, this is not it. And Blizzard, if you're going to market something as a big event, a big patch, if you're going to have, like, literal, marketing events like the one that I believe they're doing the day that this video posts, or maybe the day before this video posts, if you're doing things like that,
yeah, the state
and
of
all your marketing is pointing people into this experience, That's just not good, guys. Just imagine for a second.
It's a tough one. I've been, Disaster says, I've been enjoying doing the WoW secret finding. Yes, the WoW secret finding stuff really kicked off recently. I talked about it this morning. That's a fun thing. Blizzard puts in, the community finds it and gets it done. That's more interesting and looks like it got more work put into it than the pre-patch event did, for sure. Emphasis is on BC, Classic, PvP, Retail, Gold Grind, really, and Lumber. Yeah, there are places that Blizzard's putting their time, for sure. It's just definitely the pre-patch event wasn't one of them.
That a player listens to what all those Blizzard bigwigs say, right? About caring about the players, all those things, which I'm sure they actually do. But imagine if somebody listens to that, takes it seriously, logs in, and then finds this event. Are those words going to feel true? Will that make Blizzard's marketing credible? Or will it make it feel like a bit of a weird joke? And it's not just this. Take the revamped new player experience. There's loads of good stuff in it, but you know the whole really cool talking point about how as you're leveling up in Dragonflight, you would finish the regular campaign and then be able to go and do the raid in story mode and play through all the patches? Well, it turns out queuing for Vault of the Incarnates is broken, and it's been broken for weeks, which means the new player experience, that whole leveling process that's supposed to be the one nice cohesive story, it's broken. Again.
Well, I guess it's a good introduction to the game, so players realize, like, yeah, sometimes this game breaks. I mean, what was it on Friday? We were running that Mythic Plus, Streets, right? And it broke for us. We were going to time the key and everything, and then the little market event broke. And there was literally nothing we could do about it. We just had to leave the key, which was sad. And it wasn't like that all season, but for some reason this pre-patch hit and it broke the entire event. I don't even know what to say. So, I mean, yeah, you're introducing players to real-world WoW, where shit breaks.
The quality of delivery actually matters. You have real customers. And while there's so much in Midnight that looks great, that I'm really excited for, that I know looks really good quality, that we have to go through this bit first just kind of sucks. I think it's bad for the health of the game. And we can't have another expansion load of busted day one patch experiences. Blizzard, we just can't do it. It will hurt you. You've already lost a lot of credibility through the War Within, and you can't let that keep on going through Midnight. That's basically all I've got to say in this one. Do you know what? If you actually want some really dope lore, listen to this video next. It's about a whole bunch of cool stuff that's being tackled in and around Midnight, and it'll be a good palate cleanser.
Yeah, I mean, just shipping broken patches hopefully is not continue as a theme in Midnight for sure. It happened a lot in the War Within, no doubt. We had many broken patches. As I said before, probably the most broken patch I've ever seen in WoW was the whole Hallowfall event with all that shit that was going on. That one was an absolute disaster. Couldn't even play it. It was literally unplayable. So hopefully they figure out some kind of cadence when it comes to patching shit in where they can test it long enough to know that it's not broken before it ships. Or maybe they just continue to be firefighters who are setting fires. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Nice video, though, from Bellular.